The Fed says we're done, announcing today they'll be suspending the 3-year-long campaign to rescue the economy with quantitative easing. This has been Bernanke and company lower their forecast for economic growth. Joining me now, a man who says QE3 is all but certain and going to fail too. Peter Schiff, CEO of Euro-Pacific Capital and the author of How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes. Peter, great to see you again.
Nice to be here again.
All right, I'm going to run a comment for Bernanke and then get you to comment. The thing that most blew me away was this on headwinds. Listen to this.
We don't have a precise read on why this slower pace of growth is persisting. One way to think about it is that maybe some of the headwinds that have been concerning us, like weakness in the financial sector, problems in the housing sector, balance sheet and deleveraging issues, some of these headwinds may be stronger or more persistent than we thought.
So, Peter, how is it that the head of the Federal Reserve, the top money guy in Washington, doesn't know why the economy is slowing down?
Well, he doesn't have a good read on anything. In fact, historically, Ben Bernanke is probably one of the most reliable contrary indicators in that whatever he thinks is going to happen, the opposite will come true. And, I think his current forecasts on the U.S. economy are not going to be the exception to that rule. I think that the economy is going to be a lot weaker than he thinks. Unemployment is going to be higher. And more importantly, inflation is going to be a lot higher. And I wish, somebody at that press conference would have been astute enough to ask him what the Fed's policy response would be if unemployment gets worse, but inflation continues to move above its target. What's the Fed going to do then?
Well, I want to show our viewers here a chart of the Fed funds rate and inflation. Inflation is on fire right now. Consumers really getting hammered. And you mentioned it. Boy, what happens if the jobs rate continues higher and we get inflation too, stagflation? What is the solution? And are you convinced that the Federal Reserve can do anything about it?
Well, the Fed is responsible for it. Quantitative easing is by definition inflation. It's printing money, monetizing debt. That's what the Fed's been doing. I mean, our economy is overdosing on quantitative easing. But I think we're going to do it again because that's all the Fed knows. Now, it might not label it quantitative easing, but, quantitative easing by any other name is going to stink just as bad. And that's what he's going to do. And proof that he's lying. If you listen to what he said at this press conference, he said that he thought that oil prices would fall and that falling oil prices would bring down the core CPI. Now, a few months ago, when oil prices were rising, he said that rising oil prices were going to bring down the core CPI because he said that people will spend more money on oil and therefore they'll have less money to spend on things in the core. So he's got it both ways. I mean, what's next? Stable oil prices going sideways. That's also going to bring down the core CPI. I mean, the guy's just lying.
Peter, come on. Isn't it just possible he doesn't know? And that's really the more frightening scenario, is that he doesn't know the answer to the question.
Well, either he's a liar or he's ignorant. I mean, those are two possibilities. But the guy got a 1,600 on his SATs. That's a lot higher than I got.
He's a smart guy. So, he really is. But let me tell you, being able to predict this economy is a very tough thing. And it's frightening to me that some of the smartest people who know the most about downturns in the economy cannot find a solution.
Well, maybe it's tough for Ben Bernanke because he doesn't understand basic economics, but there are a lot of people that understand Austrian economics like me. Predicting the economy is actually quite easy. The problem is he's trying to find directions with a broken compass. His compass is always pointing west, so he never arrives at the right conclusion. But, I think that I give him a little bit more credit. I think he kind of knows. If you played that clip, he's stammering. He stutters when he talks. He looks very nervous to me. He looks like a guy that's hiding something.
Well,
he's afraid that someone's going to find out.
He's not as slick as you are, Peter. All right.
It has nothing to do with slick.
I have to ask you about this, though.
I'm just being honest.
I know you are. I want to talk to you about Mohamed El-Arian, who today, the head of PIMCO, very important guy, says that he runs the world's biggest bond fund, predicts that Greece would default on its debt. Greece is done. Do you agree?
Well, look, Greece should restructure its debt. That's the right thing to happen. And without a bailout, that is exactly what's going to happen. There's no way Greece can repay its bills, just like there's no way America can repay its bills. But I have a feeling that there might be a bailout coming for Greece because I think the European politicians will make the same mistakes as American politicians because they're all trying to get reelected. Nobody cares what they do to their countries. But I think the bigger issue, people keep saying, is America the next Greece? I think Greece is just the first America. Greece is just a smaller version of us. And I think once the world stops, focusing on the problems in Europe, they're going to then focus on the much bigger problems here in the United States.
Are we the next Greece?
Well, I said they're the first U.S. We're the real deal. They're just the warm-up.
Oh, boy. You have to be happier. There's something going wrong in your life. We got to give you a happy pill or something, Peter.
What? Well, look, I'm not happy about what's happening in my country, but I'm happy to have the opportunity to at least explain the truth to your audience.
It's a good way to state it. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time tonight.
Sure.
Thank you, Peter.